the best cyber practitioners that I know are people that came from a different discipline.
Yeah.
Come in from the help desk, come in from app dev, come in from networking, from infrastructure, like really get to know, come in from risk, right? Come in from audit.
Welcome to the Risk Never Sleeps podcast, in which we learn about the people that are on the front lines, protecting patient care and delivering. See, I screwed up already. Yeah. Look at that. There's a retake. All right, producers, retake. 3, 2, 1. Welcome to the Risk Never Sleeps podcast, in which we learn about the people that are on the front lines, delivering patient care and protecting patient safety. I'm Ed Gaudet, the host of our program. And today, I'm back to back on these today. So, Eric, you have to bear with me. I'm a little fried, but I'm with Eric Brown, founder of IT Audit Labs. And you're basically, you do consulting for organizations that are looking for fractional CISOs and CIOs based on, their requirements and their growth, et cetera, right?
Yeah, that's one of the things that we do. We also do strategic consulting work with our customers where we'll come in, they've typically had an inflection point. Mm-hmm. We'll help them understand what that is, what that looks like, and how to mitigate risk going forward.
Awesome. So tell us a little bit about your company, maybe in a little more detail, some of the work you do and some of the projects you work on.
Absolutely. Thanks, Ed. One of the, I guess I could start back maybe with a little history, a little walk back in time. I come from corporate IT and grown up in large enterprise space, and then carried a bag for a little bit selling solutions. And one of those solutions that I was building and selling was security. And that was, early on as security was kind of coming together and starting to shape up into actual practices. I'm recalling I was at a lunch downtown Minneapolis. This is maybe 15 years ago, and I was talking with an organization that was providing cyber insurance, and at the time, it was a one-page questionnaire in order to get cyber insurance. There's 1 page worth of questions. I just completed one of these for a customer, and I think there was close to 300 questions.
Yeah.
It took about 4 days to do. So yeah, very interesting, as the times have changed. Yeah. But that's, going back down memory lane, I started IT Audit Labs because I knew we could do security really well, and we could bring together the people to help our customers solve a challenge that they were having. And what the impetus was is I was working with a CISO at a county government organization, and on his desk he had a stack of audits, and he's like, I've been audited 5 times in the last 3 years. They come in, they give me an audit, they give me this, paperwork, and then they go away, and now I have to fix all these problems, and I don't have the staff to fix it, and so on and so forth. So that gave me the idea that, there is a market for a company that could come in, do the audit work, but then also stay behind, help with the strategy, and help with the implementation and execution of the remediation that is so critical to happen. So that's what we did. So we started kind of an Ocean's 11 model with the people that were in my network at the time. Who do I know that would be really good at X? And then I'd go out, bring them in on a contracting basis, and help to solve whatever the problem was at the time. And that's just kind of grown where we've grown as an organization. We brought some people on board. We still work with a lot of contractors that have discrete expertise in different areas. Mm-hmm. And we go in and we help companies at the senior leadership level understand where they could best spend their security or technology dollar to bring about an outcome that they desire.
Got it. So what's your origin story? How did you get into this? And what led you into this, to this journey where now you're running audit labs or IT audit labs?
IT Audit Labs, yeah. So I started in the technology field. Kind of grew up in technology, as a network administrator. And then I got more into management and leadership and senior leadership with larger organizations. And then I left that because I thought it would be interesting to go out and sell. Sitting in meetings all day wasn't necessarily my cup of tea. So when I left I'll call it enterprise, corporate enterprise, which my day consisted of sitting in meetings and then having more meetings about those meetings. That was enough. I wanted to get on the road a little bit. And I thought I kind of glamorized the salesperson's job. I'm like, wow, they get to go out, do all this entertaining, have these conversations, and it really looks fun. But it's a lot of hard work. And
it's hard. Yeah.
It's really hard.
Yeah. Not to mention all the rejection you get as well.
Oh my goodness. You're sitting at trade show booths and all of that. So I do make a point now when I go to trade shows, I do try to stop and talk to the people, even if I'm not interested in the product.
Yeah.
I will just, hey, how you doing? Whatever. Cause I know I've sat in the chair before and it's not easy, but I did that for 8 years, and security was becoming more and more important. And I was having these conversations around how do companies get through these inflection points? How do they solve the monument of problems that they have in order to continue to run their business? Because by and large, technology is not what most customers' businesses are. They're doing other things, and then they need technology in order to operate the business, or be more strategic, or lean, whatever, right? So helping those companies understand where security plugs in and how security can be really an enabler of business, not necessarily a one-stop shop that just says no to everything. It's like, well, how do we accomplish your business goals?
Yeah.
How do we protect your data? How do we protect your people? And how do we do it in a way that's going to make your business faster, leaner, what have you? And it's not always possible to do, but it's been an enjoyable challenge along the way. We started 2018 with that mission, and have grown every year since then, and are now getting into the AI space, where we're helping customers understand and unpack exactly what AI is, what it means for your data. There's a lot of ambiguity out there, but that the market is changing so quickly that it's almost a full-time job to stay on top of what AI means in your organization. You could easily go down the rabbit hole of the different large language models. That means different interfaces to the models and what happens to data. And it changes so fast that an answer today is going to be different 6 weeks from now.
Yeah. Amen. What industries do you focus on?
We've largely been in government, so state and local government. We work in manufacturing. We've worked in healthcare and gaming. Kind of the
gaming. Wow, that's a
casino. Since
I understand. Yeah. No, but it's it's a very interesting and different industry. In some ways, the security requirements are on par, if not higher than some of these other industries you just mentioned.
And similar in some cases where you get into highly regulated industries.
Yeah.
And then you're looking at access controls and policies and governance around the type of access that individuals may have to information, and then how that information is preserved. So in some cases, similar to state and local governments that may have criminal justice information, data, HIPAA data, all of those sorts of things that really need an understanding of how they're managed. but not necessarily. It's not something to I guess run away from. Organizations shouldn't be fearful that they have this data. It's just okay. Now, how do we manage the data that we have, and how do we protect it?
And when you think about, so did you go to RSA?
I did not go to RSA this year. No, my security conference of choice is Wild West Hack and Fest in Deadwood, South Dakota. I've done the Black Hats and the DEF Cons. I don't enjoy large security conferences. One, because I don't like waiting in line, and two, because I just don't like the vendor sponsored. I shouldn't say I don't like. I don't get as much value out of the vendor sponsored talk tracks that I do from the independent folks, like the people that are, working day in and day out, and then are presenting research that they're working on their own. That's interesting. And I mean, certainly you get that at DEF CON, or less so at Black Hat, but at DEF CON, if you really wanted to be in a conference that maybe is going to be pretty popular, you've got to get in there the talk before to get a decent seat. It's a different conference experience. I don't want to say it's not good, because there's a lot of really great cutting edge content there, but I like the more local flavor where there's maybe 900 people at Wild West Hack and Fest. And I really love the smaller ones, like we used to have here in Minnesota, BurrCon, which was a pretty intimate conference. The B-Sides conferences, those are pretty good. And I think it's because I'm more of an engineer at heart, Ed. And, I just like that kind of rubbing shoulders with people who are actually working on some tangible things. That's just cool stuff.
Well, the nice thing about Deadwood is you can combine it with a Sturgis ride. You're close to Sturgis. So if you have a bike, or do you ride?
I used to. I don't anymore. Yeah, I used to have a couple of different motorcycles. I had maybe the most Sturgis appropriate was a Buell, which was kind of like a Harley that was a sport bike. But I may get back into it. It's
I don't want to be the inspiration for that.
Do you ride?
Like you used to? Yeah. Last ride I was on was in 2016.
Oh, nice.
Up in Indio, going to Joshua Tree. To go visit the motel where a couple of rock stars died. But most importantly, Graham Parsons died there. So.
Oh wow.
Yeah.
How are they dying at these hotels?
I don't know. What is it? Why does anyone die, Eric? Damn them.
Well, my doctor, it's cardiovascular.
Yeah, well, that's a problem.
Eric, you got to get up once an hour. You got to walk around. Okay.
So as you look out over the next couple of years, what's high on your list of priorities for your business?
AI is number one of staying at least on par with, but if not in front of, this paradigm shift that is inevitably coming. Being able to understand it enough to translate it into something that's tangible for our customers, helping them, being in the boat with them as we're navigating the rapids together, but really being able to help steer and guide and advocate for where there might be some great use cases for AI and maybe some things to watch out for. But I absolutely think AI is here. It's definitely here to stay. It's only going to be more prevalent. But how do we leverage it? How do we harness it? How do we not be afraid of it? How can it really make our jobs better? And it's already doing so many things for us in just taking repeatable things that we could be doing, but doing them in a way that's much faster. And I like that. And somebody recently said, I wish I could attribute who said it, but AI isn't going to take our jobs. It's the people who know AI that are going to take our jobs. So there's going to be jobs that, at least for probably my lifetime, aren't going to be replaceable with AI, because it would be some form of robotics that is going to be, somebody that, doing hands-on work, repairing a car, building a house or what have you. At some point in time, I would imagine 100 years from now, it'll be robots on scaffolding doing those things, but we're not there yet. But we certainly are at the place where you could take repeatable things and build models with Clay or Zapier to create those automation workflows. We were redesigning our website, over the summer. That's kind of our summer project, and working with a marketing firm. The way in which content is structured on the website, it's done that way, not for humans, but for the search engine optimization, right? You hear this SEO and
that's right,
terms like that. Like, well, you got to design the website like this, because then it'll get picked up. Search. Right. It's like, well, now we're using automation to build the website in a way that can be read by, and so I thought that was a little bit ironic, unfortunate, but that's kind of the way things are these days. And I think it's great for doing things like analyzing huge lists of firewall rules, where it'd be a daunting task for a human to look through lines and lines of firewall rules, looking for different anomalies, patterns, and disease, and all of that, right? So there's great use cases for that.
Yeah, no, it's amazing how, once you really get your arms around it, how productive you can be with it. So if you weren't doing this job, and you could do anything in the world, what would it be?
That's a great question, Ed. I'm a pilot. And I've been flying for a number of years, and I think if I could do anything I wanted, and it would be aviation related. I could go back and start flying earlier in my career. I'd probably love to be a major airline pilot, because it's a cool job, and the retirement perks are awesome. You can still retain the privileges of being able to hop on any flight for free. And, if you wanted to go to Japan or Norway or wherever you want to go, you can jump seat and do it. So it's a cool way of seeing the world from 40,000 feet.
Have you been to either of those places?
I've been to Japan. I took my mom there for her, I want to say it was her 80th birthday. Never been to Norway, but have been to Sweden and Finland.
Yeah, cool. Those are great parts of the world, aren't they?
They are.
They really are, yeah. So I love the Nordics for some reason. I don't know why, but I'm kind of drawn to Denmark and Finland. Yeah, just really beautiful areas.
And just going there at different times of the year, and experiencing that darn near 24 hours. First after sunlight, which is...
I've been there during that in July. Yeah, it's crazy. It's like, what is happening? All right. Very good. So I love that. I didn't know, did you serve in the military, or how did you get involved?
I didn't. I got for my, was it my 29th? No, it was my 30th birthday. I think I got a half-hour intro flight birthday present.
Nice.
To a helicopter. So I was hooked from the moment we lifted off, and then I went through the whole rigmarole of getting my private and then my commercial, and then I became a flight instructor on the helicopter side, and did all of that. And then I relocated out here to Minnesota, joined a flying club, and picked up the fixed wing side.
Nice.
And have spent a lot of time in the fixed wing since. when we fly out to Wild West Hackenfest every year. That's a fun trip.
Oh, nice. Yeah.
Yeah, I do a fair amount of flying.
Cool. If you could go back in time, what would you tell your 20-year-old self?
I would say, if you want to do it, just do it, right? Life will figure it out. Don't put it off for another day. Because life is short, and you're always going to get the twists and turns along the way. But if you want to do something, put the effort towards it and do it, and it'll work out.
What's the riskiest thing you've ever done?
We could take that in a few different ways.
This is a rated PG-13. So you can go a little risky, but not too risky.
Well, I was not more thinking that. I was just more thinking like of a business risk, because I think on the business...
Could be anything. Could be anything.
It was deciding to step away from that, corporate enterprise, where you have a steady job, and deciding to open IT Audit Labs.
So risky. Risky. Yeah, no, it's so risky. People don't realize what it takes to start your own business and the risk you take.
I tell you, Ed, it early on, as we were taking on people and customers, and then you have some customers that don't pay right away.
Oh, yeah.
I woke up a few times just sick to my stomach of like, I don't know if we're going to make payroll. And like, I was literally nauseous of like, is this going to work out?
Yeah.
And you don't want to call up the people that are working for you saying, hey, you might not get paid on Friday. So yeah, that's it is risky. I enjoy it though, and fortunately we're through those patches of the growing pains of the business, but there's still risk in it, right? What happens if due to some unforeseen circumstances a company needs to move in a different direction? That's a major customer.
What happens if you raise a bunch of money, stick it into a bank? Oh, I don't know, call it Silicon Valley Bank. And then and payroll is due that Monday to the bank so people can get paid on Wednesday. And then on Friday, the previous Friday, the bank closes down and you've got, what do you do then? That's risky.
That didn't happen to you, did it?
Yeah, it did. Of course.
Oh my God. Did you get back?
There's more to that story there, which I don't necessarily share, but it was probably the worst stress. And I've been in the military. I like to think that I handle stress well. It was probably the most stress I've ever been under at any one time in my life. And it was, because, you're thinking on a Friday morning that you're going to lose your company that you spent this was like probably 4 or 5 years trying to build. And it's all going to come to an end because of this. I mean, you get investors and, they're trying to do all the right things, but still, you just raised a bunch of money and it's in the bank and you can't get to it and you can't pay people. It's not a good place to be, but, we managed through it like everybody else that was going through it at the time. But like you said, it's a very risky thing to go out on your own and take on that responsibility, not only of yourself, but then of others that you have to, obviously take care of and manage.
And then you start getting these letters in the mail from the IRS of like, unemployment tax, this and that. And it's, man, they just come out of the woodwork, don't they?
Oh my God. My CFO is so busy. So many states, like you hire somebody in a different state and all of a sudden you've got all these state regulations you have to manage, and it's never ending.
We hired somebody, I don't remember what state it was in, somewhere in the West, but it was like, well, you have to publish an article in a newspaper or something. I don't.
Oh yeah, that the person's been hired. Oh yeah, I've seen. And the worst, I mean, again, worst is relative. If you're a global company and you hire people in different countries, ooh, boy, some of the employment laws in, say, France, say the UK, Germany, It is. Those are really tough places to hire people.
It's going to be interesting.
Yeah. Anyway. All right. Well, we digress. So maybe I'll have that edited out. Who knows? So
That's all good.
I typically don't because it's real. It's authentic.
Yeah.
Hey, it's life. If you're deciding to be an entrepreneur out there, like, yeah, think twice. No, actually, it's the best job in the world, isn't it?
It is. And I found some tips and tools along the way. One of those was peer groups, of finding peer groups in the area to join.
Yes. AKA therapy. I call that therapy.
Entrepreneurial therapy.
Yeah.
Those are great. I've joined a couple. I'm 2 years into Strategic Coach with Dan Sullivan. So if you've ever heard of the books,
Oh yeah. Nice.
10X is easier than 2X, Who Not How, or The Gap in the Gain.
Yeah.
I was hooked on those books. And I was like, wow, what is this? And turns out in Chicago, Dan Sullivan's got this strategic growth, and they're in a couple of different cities now too. But Strategic Coach, and you meet once a quarter. It's been great.
Yeah.
So that's been just helpful in opening up my mind outside of just like, the day to day. Oh, I got to get this report done.
Yeah.
Right? It's being more strategic. And then I found this tool called a Muse, and it's a headband that you wear, and it sounds, and I don't even know if it works, but purportedly it measures your brain waves, because you're just wearing this headband, right? And you have you have a program on your phone, and it's a meditation type of program, and it's playing music through headphones, and it is measuring your brain waves. And then when you're in a relaxed state, these birds are chirping. So you're hearing like the sound of, say, the ocean, or like the sound of a forest, wind in the forest. And as as you have all of these thoughts in your head, then the background noise is really noisy, like the waves are just crashing. But as you're able to calm your mind down, the waves crashing less, and then you hear birds chirping. And
interesting.
The idea is
it teaches your mind how to calm itself.
Exactly. Yeah, exactly.
Interesting.
And there's different programs. Like if you're kind of one of those people that wake up in the middle of the night, just mind racing, they call it like a digital sleeping pill or something like that. I don't have that problem, so I never tried it. But
yeah,
in theory, it helps your mind get back into a calm state so you can sleep.
That's it. I'll check that out. I used to have this thing called bourbon, and that did the same thing for me. But I no longer drink, so I had to give that up, Eric. One of us had to go. Among other things, cigars and other things. I used to love. I don't do those anymore. All right. You're on a desert island. You're alone, but you can take 5 records with you. You mentioned music. What would they be?
Okay.
And by the way, you come from a state which has a lot of great bands. So I'm gonna measure you on if you pull any of these bands into your album collection, your portfolio of albums that you bring with you.
Well, I love this question. Okay. I'm bringing Ryope 22, which is...
What is that?
That is it's really calming, it's a musical kind of just meditative.
Oh, like Buddhist chants or...
Yeah, but it's not that. It's musical.
Okay. All right.
Really good.
And how do you pronounce it? Ryope?
RIPOY 22.
Okay. Check it out.
Yep. I bet when you ask these questions, you get a lot of good referrals.
I do. I get some really interesting. Yeah. I get some inspiring things to check out. So that's a good one.
Trying to find it here. Another one I would bring, and I'm trying to, Ryope Meditation 22. How do I stop that? Is one. Probably bring Tracy Chapman's Fast Car album.
Okay, I didn't see that one coming, Eric.
Past left field. That was the first live concert I went to, State College, Pennsylvania, in 1988.
Wow.
That was I love acoustic music. I love folk music. That's a good one.
Yeah. And there's a remake too of that.
There is, and it's decent. Yeah.
Yeah.
Decent. Michael Hedges. He is unfortunately passed away. But he is a phenomenal guitarist. The album I bring is Aerial Boundaries.
Nice.
I get two more.
Mm-hmm.
And
I love how you're putting some thought into this.
Man, it's got to be a Led Zeppelin album.
Okay, now you're talking my language. Which one? Which one though? Which one? Be different. Be different. Don't say 4, please. Don't say 4. Although it's a great album. I'm not gonna lie, but
I don't know. I have to can I get back to you? I want to I got to re-listen to some of these.
Any Led Zeppelin's good. You can't go wrong. Okay, what else?
The last one I'm gonna bring some classic jazz. I gotta bring some.
All right. Good. Okay, I'm a jazz aficionado, as they say.
Are you?
Yeah, well, I pretend.
You pretend to be? I'm, on one hand, I'm thinking, let's, like a Miles Davis, but I'm thinking maybe a more like a modern take on some of that classic jazz. And I just saw, you're talking about Minneapolis and the music scene here. We've got a great place called Dakota. It used to be Dakota Jazz Club. It's just called Dakota now. And Prince on occasion would pop in.
Nice.
Still around. But we just went and saw an artist there or a group there, and I'm trying to remember the name of them, but I really enjoyed it, and I would probably bring them along, and I'm gonna have a Tourette's moment and just shout it out here in like 2 minutes.
Isn't that the case? Like you start thinking about something else and it hits you. All right, we'll move on. We'll move on to another question.
Bill Charlap Trio. See, I knew what happened.
What is it?
Bill Charlap.
Oh, okay. Bill Charlap.
Yeah.
Check it out. Yeah. Hardest lesson in your career.
Hardest lesson in my career. Not everybody needs to know what it is you're thinking.
That's the first, and that's a good one. That's such a good lesson. All right. Last question. What advice would you give to someone coming out of school that wants to get into cyber, or IT or some other?
No, I get this a lot because people are like, hey, getting into cyber, probably the best way to get into cyber is to not directly get into cyber. The best cyber practitioners that I know are people that came from a different discipline.
Yeah.
Come in from the help desk, come in from app dev, come in from networking, from infrastructure, like really get to know, come in from risk, right? Come in from audit, like all of these other things that are really the core of what it is we do day in and day out in information security, cybersecurity. Like it doesn't really matter if you sat in class and, you learned how to use Wireshark to like, look at the bits and bytes, right? Like we got technology that does that. And that's awesome that you understand that. But like, well, do you understand, how TCP works? Do you understand how UDP works? What sort of attack vectors go over DNS? Like what are these weird ports we're seeing? When you go into an organization and you walk into their data center, what does the security of that data center look like? Is there a sign-in sheet? Are they recording things on camera? Where are the fire extinguishers, right? Like just kind of going through like all of these things that like,
that's good.
It doesn't really matter that you are the best person in that knows how to like work the nits out of Splunk, which is Splunk's a great tool, but there's 50 other great tools, and Splunk's not going to be here in 2 years. There's going to be something else, and that thing's not going to be here 2 years later. So I think the adaptability and the pliability and the passion, like, why do you want to get into cyber if you've never done anything else?
And I'd like to thank our sponsor, Splunk, for bringing this podcast. No, I'm just kidding. They're not a sponsor. We don't do the advertisement. But that'd be funny if they were. Splunk's not going to be around for another 2 years. All right.
No, I mean,
I know what you mean. I know what you mean. Yeah, of course. I'm just kidding. All right. Well, this has been terrific. Before we end, though, I'm going to give you a couple recommendations. Do you know the Jayhawks?
Jayhawks, yes.
Minnesota band, good band. The Replacements. Do you know the Replacements?
Do I know the Replacements?
Oh, check them out. Do you like punk?
Okay.
Do you like punk type music? Not hardcore punk, but more.
Yeah.
Play Replacements. Check out. Great band, Minnesota band. Minnesota. You're from Minnesota, right? Yeah.
Well, I'm here now, originally from the East Coast. Yeah, I've been here enough years that I could say
We're in the East Coast.
Born in Springfield, spent a lot of time in Pennsylvania and New York.
Yeah. Cool. And then lastly, a band called Husker Du, which is more punk. Yeah.
Okay.
They're a pretty cool band. Those are my three my suggestions for you.
Thank you.
To check out. Yeah, you bet. And thank you for being on the podcast. We appreciate you. This is Ed Gaudet from the Risk Never Sleeps podcast. If you're on the front lines protecting patient safety and delivering patient care, remember to stay vigilant because risk never sleeps.